GM friends, and thanks for joining DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. As a member of our server, you can join community calls every week, request chart reviews, and discuss the charts in real time. Check out the link in the video description below. In today's community call, we will review charts for Chainlink, Mina Protocol, Flashbot Token, MEVFREE, Bitcoin, and ETH. For legacy markets, S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial, Dollar Index, Volatility Index, 10-year bonds, and finally, gold. And with that, over to you, Eddie.
Guys, hope everyone made some money so far this week. Is the bull market back? Let's look. So first, we'll just recap last week's Bitcoin. We basically nailed this entire move. Hopefully people caught it, but we're looking at this and I was saying, would love for this to hold. And if we get a daily close above here, that's also another trigger. We got both. It held and the close above and a short-term trigger as well. But look at it on the daily, which is kind of how we played it out. It was beautiful. Some of it was that scam ETF news pump, but the charts kind of lead the way a lot of times. So what is next here? You have to assume that we're going to pull back a little bit, and you want to also see bullish responses. I haven't looked at the history myself. I'm pretty sure historically Q4 is pretty bullish. So looking at the weekly, I think if you look at these highs, any pullbacks that we get into these levels, they have to hold. Because if it doesn't hold, then this whole pump is meaningless. And now you have to assume that it's going back to the lows, right? I like to trade ranges, and that's just kind of how it works. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Instead, we wanted to see it hold. So if I go down to the daily, and actually I think the daily's not going to really give anything. I think we probably need to go down to like the 4-hour, but I haven't looked at the charts really since Friday. And then yesterday and today I was just longing random alt, and it worked out, but I haven't actually looked at the market yet. Here we go. Finally, a little bit while I just kind of figure out what we've got to do. If we drop this low, like from the highs, I guess it can happen. This is crypto. It just seems aggressive, and it seems too easy also. So I was thinking we need like a lower time frame level. Might have to move around a little bit, and while I wait for this chart to load, we can look at this one. We're not just sitting here idling. So just a quick review of MEVFREE. We've been watching this one for a while, and it's pretty much doing what I was expecting it to do and just kind of chop in this area. The good news is it is holding this box because we really don't want to see it go lower. It can, but it's just not a good look. So let's continue just to kind of form a high time frame accumulation. I imagine that this is just going to look like this. So bull and return. I know at the very beginning I said, are we back? But it's too hard to say. You just have to play it for what it is for now. I think Q4 will be bullish, and who knows if it will continue next year or not. Okay, this finally entered. So if you look at like the lower time frame, obviously a dip down here would be the easy play. If we get down this low, whether it's because of FUD or what it is, you just need to kind of step up and buy, because this is like the moment that you need for the market to have a nice go at it. Because if it can hold above here, we can just aim much higher. Obviously not that high. I haven't looked. I think the next weekly levels are like at the 40s or something like that. I'll check before we get off the screen. But if it goes down this low, just buy it, because if it doesn't hold it, there's a chance we reach down to range lows like I was mentioning. What I would really like to see instead of that deep retracement is maybe just take this low out right here. I think that would look really good. Oh, Monday's low is way down here. So we'll see. I guess it is very well possible that it goes down this far. It would just be really ugly to retrace this entire move. And I wouldn't be so excited for bullish conditions to continue if I saw that. So ideally, I want this mid-level to hold, maybe a sweep of it, a reclaim, and then you can get long, something like this, with your stop below whatever the low is. And what I'm talking about as far as the upper targets, if we can remain bullish, like we just have a lot of inefficiencies to fill all the way to this region, really. These are my next targets. So anywhere from 37 to 40 is where I think this can go, as long as we hold what we need it to hold. So that's the plan for Bitcoin. GG for anyone if you followed the last plan. We'll look at Ethereum next. Or actually, let's look at Ethereum BTC next, and then we'll look at Ethereum by itself. I've been hoping for this to reverse, and I haven't looked at it since we charted it last week. So same thing. While I wait for the chart to load, we'll just look at this other one. Oh wait, there it is. Okay. So I was hoping it would start to reverse. It doesn't look like it has any signs of it yet, which actually, in the grand scheme of things, is way more bullish for the space than it to start performing now. You want to see Bitcoin really lead the way, because if Bitcoin can lead the way for sustained month, then we probably are at the beginning of the bull market right now, which is pretty exciting. I know I've taken some easy mode trade past this week so far already, and it's just been quite fun. So I think I mentioned that we may take these lows out, and it looks like we already have. I guess there is this one way down here still, which is still okay for now. I think it's safe to just play Bitcoin and Ethereum, or just play alts instead of Ethereum, because alts are going to be more beta to Ethereum anyway. So this is still basically doing the same thing, looking for it to reverse. Maybe it will go down to a lower time frame, to the daily. Hopefully it's even showing the ETH BTC chart. I'm looking at it, looks like it's on Dex Screener. That's going to load. So we'll switch back over here, relook at FBT. We've been following for a while too. And basically doing the same thing, holding the lows. Luckily, we didn't get this worst case scenario where it just dies. So that's nice to see. It's basically holding this low right here. So that's cool. Same thing though. It probably just accumulates until, whenever the market is full out stupid. FBT seems like a really cool token though, and it's looking quite bullish. I think if it can close above this 14 level that it's like at right now, you should be able to aim for this area. But I'm sure that's probably like a 2x at least. Yeah, looks good. Doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, all these lines came out of nowhere. Let's see. It looks like it could be reversing. This is probably like a bull div. Yeah. Wait, is it? No, it's not. Right here is though. So we got this one right here forming. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes for the triple and it does this. That lines up with that wick that I'm looking at over there too. So off to just Ethereum to T. This is actually looking really nice. So I did the trade very similar to this yesterday on XRP. Let me show it to you real quick. Oh my gosh. It's kind of breaking out of its range, and it's going to retest it for the people watching live. And for the people watching later, maybe it already will. But range breakout, it's going to come down and retest it. I did this exact same setup on XRP the other day, where I basically just, oh yeah, here's my stuff from last time. Let's go over that really quick. So it, again, also did exactly what we're wanting it to. I was hoping it would hold the low, maybe kind of come in and do that whole deal, which is basically what happened with these candles right here. It held and it went straight to target. This is the next target. I already have it marked. And the next one after that. Basically what you want to see, kind of crazy. And just like bask in the glory right now of that correct call. All right, but anyways, what you want to see now is this. This is like ultra bullish if this holds, and you would just bid the entire bot with a manual stop if it starts closing below back into range, okay? And then you already saw the targets, but that's target one. It's looking pretty ugly right now, though. I want to see if there's like a 4-hour wick to work with. Maybe this zone. This isn't something to blindly bid, actually, now that I look at it. We need that structure to form. So low. Hopefully you get that. Maybe not, but hopefully you do. Because if this doesn't happen, then Ethereum falls back into range technically, and I would have to look for the lows again. So we want it to, and then if it doesn't hold, that's this plan too. Okay. Chainlink. So we have the DeFi-Logic analysts researching and drafting reports on Link to be published in the server next week, which is sweet. Link had a huge breakout recently too. I remember because I sold it for 5% and it went like 50. But that's just bear market PTSD. Okay, here we go. So the range I was talking about, right? I know we've looked at this range before, so I'm not going to redraw it. I think you have to look for this area right here to hold in the same little setup, sweeps, reclaims, all that stuff that I always say, right? But I'd look for it to hold in this section right here. And then if not, somewhere down here for the range breakout retest, because it never really gave one. It just, once it broke out, it just broke out. So those are the two plans. Look for bullish price action here. And if you don't get it, you'll see that it's a huge range. This is the range high. All your little lines there, and look for that. Check out Mina Protocol. Mainnet launched in 21. The devs have been building. Looks like ZK rollups should be next month with on-chain games starting soon as well. Lots of we are building news. I think Mina, yeah, look at it. It pumped 50. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing this one go crazy. And if Mina is a ZK thing, then there might be a rotation there. I don't know. All right, Mina, it's here. This had a full bull market in one day. There's really nothing I can do here. I think the market's going to pull back as a whole. So I don't know. There's not much to do with this one. Honestly, I think Mina's going to full retrace. It just looks like it. If it doesn't, check this out. But if you go down on the 4 hour, it looks like it's going to retrace the entire move. Finally, that pulled up. It's the same thing. When you look at the 1 hour, this is a 1 hour order block, but I'm not going to switch the time frame because there's just too much lag. So this level needs to hold. If it doesn't, you look for a short all the way back down to here. We already missed the move. Maybe a sweep with this low and a reclaim, you can get long again. And I think there's some more daily stuff. Probably you would just want to, if it sweeps this low and it reclaims, you would probably just want to aim for this one though, honestly. Because I was looking at on the daily and it basically took everything out already. So I think it's a market you don't want to focus on right now. I think that's everything. I was going to look at some different altcoins that I was playing, but I will say this. There's a lot of stuff that is breaking out on high time frame ranges, kind of like how Ethereum did. And if you can get in on the retest of it, that's just an easy trade to take. So scroll through and look for that. But with that, I'm just going to pass it over.
Thanks for the reviews, and we will head over to GForce.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to cover the legacy markets, starting off with the S&P 500 like I always do. And we're going to look at a daily chart. And that is typically what I go with time and time again. So this is S&P 500. You can see today that we're bouncing up a little bit. We have a little bit of a green candle. Some action that the candle looks actually the same as yesterday's candle. That bumped off of the lower 2 Bollinger Band. That was down at 4207 at this point. So we're bouncing up. There's not really good market news. If you look at it, what happened today, you have the services, the PIM number came in a little bit higher than normal, or higher than they expected, I should say. And also with the manufacturing PMI came in a little bit higher. So the economy is still being strong. It's still chugging along going forward, which the Federal Reserve Bank doesn't want to happen. On Thursday, we have pre-market the GDP number. Now, there's also a hint or a whisper that's going to hit 5% annual growth, which is not what the Federal Reserve wants at all. So if that is true, the markets are going to tank. They're just going to tank down, and it'll go down below this level, probably down even below the where the 2x Bollinger Band is sitting at right now, which is this point, which is 4,200. It might go below that. I would assume it would. So that's a big day. Thursday pre-market, that'll come out. So if you look at the S&P 500, the chart here, I have this M formation, and I even put the little letter up there so everybody can follow. You see it started out here, it ran up, came to this midpoint. Midpoints are very important on a double top or M, or a double bottom, which is a W. And then it came back up, kind of a flat point, and then it just tanked. So once it dropped below this midpoint, okay, and it also hit the standard deviation line, to me, it was a chance for it to really drop, which it did. So that was last week, Thursday, and then Friday, and then we're trying to bounce off of that. We're kind of getting a bounce. It might be a little bit more than a dead cat bounce, but we are bouncing off of that. Going to the Dow Jones 30, that actually doesn't look like an M, but you have a double bottom. You see a bottom that formed here. It ran up, and now we went below that bottom to this point, okay? And then we're starting to run back up again. So Monday, even though S&P was kind of flat, Dow Jones was down. And now we're trying to recover. This could be a true dead cat bounce today at that point. So again, the economic news is critical. Thursday is going to be very critical to see what that GDP number comes out at. We're going to look next at the dollar index, and it could be kind of explaining why crypto's pumping like crazy. So you can see that we had, months in a row, we had a new high at this point, new high here. So it's pulled back in the first part of October, middle of October. It ran up, and now it's actually went down through the standard deviation line and hit the 2x line, the lower 2x line. So it's popping back up again today. You'll see that crypto has a lot of wicks. Bitcoin has a wick pulling back. ETH has a wick pulling back. So the dollar index is popping back up again, just for today though. But the overall trend seems to be bearish, that it should start to go down. You can see that this standard deviation line is dipping a little bit. It's too early to tell because of today's rally, but it is dipping down just a tad. I think it still has a chance to go either way at this point, but I do expect it to go down. I like to look at the VIX because the VIX really tells you what market fear is all about, and it's the fear index gauge. Again, it only measures fear. It doesn't measure, it tries to measure complacency by being in a lower range, but it really doesn't too much. So you can see we had a new high at this point back in the end of September. Then October, we had another high, and now yesterday we had another high. So VIX and fear is coming back in the market, obviously, because of the global tensions with Israel and Hamas and a few other things that are going on. Don't forget about Ukraine and Russia. That's still going on. Ukraine's starting to get bogged down in their attempt to regain territory on the eastern part of their country, but it's not looking too good. So war is in the air, unfortunately. Hopping over to the U.S. 10-year yield, you can see that it had a new high back here in October. Now it's pulling back. So the markets are all kind of trying to figure out what to do because the 10-year yield's pulling back. Everybody's kind of on their toes to really see what that GDP number comes back on Thursday. So it hit another new high back here last week on the 19th, and then it's pulled back. It might get back to that standard deviation line, which is right here, but I don't think so. I mean, it might tag it, it might whip to it, and then head back up again. That's kind of what I'm looking at and planning on. And last but not least, I'm going to look at gold. Gold has just been on a tear, as you can see. Not as much of a tear as Bitcoin or ETH. I think people are getting more into that than actually gold. But there was an article I posting, and I saw that talked about the shorts in gold getting squeezed out. And that's probably what happened on Friday, back here a couple Fridays ago, Friday the 13th. So it was a true Friday the 13th for those gold short. And then is running back up. It's going to hit 2,000. And that, it just almost, this wick, it almost came up and touched it, but it didn't. It came just a tad short at 1997 $3. So it's going to come back up to 2,000. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, unless we have a truce overnight in the Middle East, which I don't think is going to happen, or a truce overnight in Ukraine, which I don't think is going to happen. So it's probably just going to take a breather right here, being a red day yesterday and a candle, small little candle today, a cross. Basically, some people call that a death cross, but I don't think so on that. I think it's going to still pop up and keep going. So, all right, that is me for the legacy markets. Again, the big news is on Thursday, which will be the GDP. And if it hits percent, the market's going to tank and the Fed's going to have a lot more work to do. Okay, thank you very much.
And that's it for this week. Remember, as a member of DeFi-Logic, you can post requests in the Daily Dose forum, and we'll review your coins, assets, and tradable proxies in the next call. Also, DeFi-Logic members interested in alpha testing our ETH spot trading indicator and XRP strategy. Service is free until we launch. Also, our Bitcoin strategy is almost ready, and it was catching all of the scalp opportunities on the way up. DeFi-Logic is a freemium service for members who join prior to public launch. You'll gain free lifetime access to the server and steep discounts on other products and services we develop in the future if you join now. Thanks for joining our call, and we'll see you at 12 p.m. Mountain Time next Tuesday. GM friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFiLogic.com.